Okay, we're going to take a look at that hard example on fractional exponents that we dealt with yesterday. We have to rewrite this expression without any fractional or negative exponents. All right, so if we have fractional exponents, we're going to have to use surd or the radical sign to deal with that. So in this particular one, I just said, well, let's take a look and let's just deal with this. Okay, so we're just going to deal with that and simplify that down first. So we've got 16 a 1/3 all to the 1/2. So we can apply the 1/2 to the 16, and we can apply it, you can put brackets around that if you want, to the 1/3. Okay? Now what we have to recognize is that 16 to the 1/2 is the same as square root of 16, which is basically 4. So this is something that should be fairly automatic at this point with you, and you understand that. Now the a to the 1/3 to the 1/2 exponent is a power of a power, and we know that what we do with that is we simply multiply the exponents together. So we get that. So this thing becomes this. So we're going to stick that back in, and now it becomes something a lot easier to deal with, like that. Okay, now we still have work to do, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this square root sign and turn it into a fractional indice. So I'm going to take the a inside over 4 a to the 1/6, and I'm going to put it all of a half. Instead of using the square root sign, I'm going to use 1/2. Now that 1/2 gets applied to everything inside here, right? So the whole thing is to a half, so we can rewrite this as a to the 1/2, and then over down below we can go, we can put this whole thing to 1/2, but I'm just going to go 4 to the 1/2 times a to the 1/6 all to a 1/2. So I have this that I can then apply to and then figure out what I've got at this point. So the top isn't going to change. It's just going to stay as a to the 1/2 to the exponent 1/2. This, however, we recognize is the same as the square root of 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. Now, again, we have to multiply this out, so this becomes 1/6 times 1/2, which is a to the 1/12. Now, we're not done, because we basically have this that we can further simplify down into, right? Because this is the base a with an exponent on it. That means that we can take that 1/2, divide it by a to the 1/12, and we can subtract those exponents because we've got the same base. So we're just going to take a, and we're going to subtract 1/2, subtract 1/12. Now you can throw that into your calculator if you're not very good at fractions. That becomes 6/12. 6 take away 1/12 is 5/12. So this becomes a 5/12. Excuse my, I'm working on my mouse here, not my pen. A to the 5/12. I'll rewrite that. A to the 5/12. So where did that come from? All of this goes in here. So we have basically this has turned into this. So a 5/12, and that 2 is on the bottom, so we just put that over 2. We could write it as a 1/2 a 5/12 if we needed to. We were happy with that. And so we basically have this, but we can't have a fractional exponent. That's not what the rule says. So we have to be able to write this thing as a surd. So the 12 is to the 12th power. That's our surd, 12th power. And then a to how many times we have a to the 5th, that's what the 5 becomes. And don't forget about the 2, so you can either stick the half out in front, or you can put the whole thing over 2. And there it is. Boom.